Hey guys, welcome to IBM iGeek. Today I'm going to focus on a very useful command. The command we're going to focus on today is called WRKACTJOB. If you don't know what WRKACTJOB is, it's a command that tells you the weather. So if you look, we'll just have a look. And as you can see here, it's 0 degrees in Quebec at the moment. Now, seriously, WRKACTJOB is a very useful command that is regularly used by IBM system administrators. It will give you basically an overall idea of what jobs are running on your system at the moment, what's happening with their performance, what their status is, things like that. You can hold jobs, you can release jobs, you can end jobs. The WRKACTJOB is probably one of the most common commands that we use when we're administrating an IBM system. So we're going to run through that today. I'll try and keep it as short as possible. I'm hoping to keep these videos around 5 minutes long, but hopefully they'll be a little bit informative for people who don't understand the IBM platform and who want to learn it. So let's get cracking. WRKACTJOB. So the command is work with active jobs, or WRKACTJOB. And at the moment we're just going to hit return on that command, and it brings us into the WRKACTJOB work with active jobs display. So on the very left hand side column you have what's called the option column. This column basically is used to, I can do a number of things using this column. So this is where I would hold a job or release a job. You can end a job also using this column. I'll show you that in a minute. In this column here, subsystem job, this basically shows the current subsystems that are running on the IBM and indented below the subsystem are the jobs that are running within that subsystem. So as you can see at the minute, there's a subsystem called QCTL. In that subsystem, you'll see this job here, which is my current display session job. On the next column is current user. In this column, it shows you the current user that's running the job. As you can see, I'm signed on as QSecOffer at the moment. I'm running this job in QCTL. In the next column, it tells you the type of job that's running. So FTP is a subsystem that's running, so the type of job is a subsystem job. If you look at my display session here, which is my console session, it's an interactive job, so it's a INT job. These jobs that are running under QServer subsystem, that's a batch job, and there's a number of other jobs that you can see, pre-start jobs, things like that. So that just basically tells you the type of job that's running on the system at the moment. The CPU column is fairly self-explanatory. It shows you basically how much CPU time this specific job is using. At the moment there's not a lot going on in the system, so they're all running fairly low. The next column is function. This basically shows what function the job is performing at the moment, or what program the job is calling. If you see at the moment, I'm actually running the WRKACTJOB command. So the function is saying, okay, this job is running command WRKACTJOB. So this is my console session. The next field is the status, and this I'm going to do a separate video on this status to explain some of these different statuses. It'll all tie in together to working with messages and stuff like that. So I'll have a video at some point in the future to explain these. There's various different statuses of jobs. The one most common obviously is run for running. Another one that you'd see quite regularly is message wait, or MSGW. And that means that the job is in a message wait state. Sometimes it's waiting for a message, or it's not waiting for a specific message. Sometimes it's waiting for you to reply. So you have to restart a job, you might have to look if there's an issue with a program, you might have to investigate what the issue is. So this display basically gives you a good overall view of of what's running on your IBM the jobs that are running, how much CPU they're using, what status the jobs they're in. Up the top here, there's a couple of other things that it explains to you the current amount of CPU used on the system. The elapsed time is basically the time. It's the time that between these statistics were gathered and the system time. So it's basically just the time that's elapsed between the time these statistics were gathered and the current system time. And this one here just tells you the total amount of active jobs on the system at the moment. Up here obviously is your time and your date, system name, and this is your this is basically showing you what command you're running at the moment. So that's a general overview of WRKACTJOB. There's a million other options. The other thing you can do, if you're a little bit familiar with IBM, you can actually prompt a command. So if you do a WRKACTJOB and prompt, which is F4 on an IBM, so you can do, one of the things you can do is you can output the work with active jobs command to a spool file. So we can basically do a print which will generate a spool file with those statistics in it. There's a couple of reasons why you do that. One reason you can, which is regularly used, is you copy that spool file to a database file, and then you can use programs to query database files and pull statistics out and stuff like that. There's other reasons why you'd print it off. If we press F10 on this display, it gives us additional parameters for this command. So this is quite useful. What we can do is, instead of looking at the whole system, we can subset basically a subsystem. So we can say, right, I want to see what jobs, show me active jobs that are running in the Q batch subsystem. So if I hit return on that, it just shows me all jobs that are currently running in the Q batch subsystem. At the moment, there's no jobs running. That's why this is empty. So but if there were jobs running, they'll be shown there. Let's go back to this command again. So what you can do is you can also you can show jobs that are using over a specific limit of CPU. So if I say show me all jobs over 80% CPU, there's nothing active at the moment because there's no jobs using 80% CPU. The other things I can do is just, that's F4 and F10 if you want to see this. I can do an automatic refresh of the WRKACTJOB screen. There's a few commands in here. You can specify specific job names to view, etc., etc. So overall, it's a very flexible command. It's very useful for understanding what's running on your IBM at the moment. This is a command that system administrators would use on a very regular basis. One of the things you can also do in here is, I'll just show you. So we've got a job at the moment in, I'll pick a job. Okay, in the QSys work subsystem, we can see that the create performance data job is running. So this job is basically creating system performance data. So it collects performance data at regular intervals, and you can then basically output that performance data, raw performance data, into database files, and you can query them, and you can look back and see why your system was performing so sluggish. Again, I will have another video on performance data at some point. What you can also do here, once you're in this WRKACTJOB, is I can do a tree which will change that job into a hold status. So I'll do an F5 to refresh. So as you can see, that job is now held because I've held it. I've manually held that job using the screen. Just one point to mention here, if you press F5 on the keyboard, which is the common refresh key, it actually refreshes the display. So it'll refresh statistics. So if I want to release that job again, I can press a 6. And as you can see now, the job goes back into its normal running status. So there's a couple of things you can do here. You can do a tree to hold, F5 to refresh, you see the job is held. We can do a 6 to release, and the job is released. So yeah, that's the WRKACTJOB command. There's other videos to come, so please check back regularly. If you have any comments or you you want me to focus on a specific video or anything like that, please drop me a note on my blog or drop me a comment in the YouTube video. I'd love to connect with people that are passionate about IBM iSeries AS400 guys. Would be great to connect. We're a dying breed. There's not many of us left these days. So yeah, please feel free to connect and check back often. Talk to you soon.